Good morning, everyone. Volunteer Caucus is just getting underway here. Obviously, it is a very busy weekend. I'm Laura Haines. I am president of the Alumni Board of Governors, class of 1993 out of the college. We are thrilled that you are here. Yes, thank you, Albert. The reception last night, Andy Alper and Tom Farrell speaking to us from their perspective as chairman of the Board of Trustees, vice president of Alumni Relations and Development, was so helpful in framing some of the issues today and our work as we do our volunteerism and advocacy in our communities. I thought it was so helpful to hear their frame. I'm also told that the Hall of Fame dinner last night was fabulous, so those of you who got to attend that. My personal thanks once again to the members of the steering committee. Thank you for all of your work in getting established. All that you do in the communities and your knowledge base has been fantastic. I wanted to provide a brief overview of the Alumni Board of Governors. We are currently 26 volunteers from around the university and around the globe. We work essentially to represent the alumni body to the Board of Trustees and to the university's administration and the wonderful staff at Alumni House. We serve as advocates for alumni and work to encourage involvement with the university at all levels. One way we enhance the University of Chicago community is by recognizing and celebrating alumni achievement. To that end, members of the Alumni Board of Governors, or ABG, as you'll see it printed on everything, work to put together the Alumni Awards program that we celebrate in June each year. Nominations are open. We are looking for outstanding volunteerism by alumni, young alumni, the Norman McLean Faculty Award, Professional Achievement, Public Service, and more. So we welcome and hope that you will nominate people in your community to help us celebrate and recognize their achievement. If you have questions, please ask any member of the Alumni Board. They can direct you. Last night we heard from Tom Farrell. Tom, would you just stand real quick? For those of you who have not yet met Tom, so please say hi to Tom. He is 4 months on the job and keeping himself very busy working and hearing, and he's got lots of great ideas, so we're very excited he's here. In 2008, just by way of background, the Alumni Board of Governors and Board of Trustees partnered to create a joint task force on alumni relations. This is a follow-up to a 1979 report called the Schultz Commission. John McGinn, past president of the Alumni Board, and our team of 3 Alumni Board of Governors members, David Kasner, where are you, David? Thank you. Stanley Pierre-Louis out of New York, and myself, and 3 trustees, Mike Clouden out of LA, former Alumni Board of Governors president and also member of the Schultz Commission, Chuck Lewis, and Mike Klingensmith, also past ABG member. Crafted together with the help of Joel Seligman, Joel in the back, thank you, crafted this report. The task force interviewed alumni relations professionals from peer institutions and key internal people who understand what makes Chicago special and unique. Some institutions, such as Notre Dame, have athletics as one of their hooks. Obviously, Chicago has a different set of values and fun. We researched best practices and ultimately our own alumni survey results to come up with our findings, which was 19 key recommendations. The key premise is that there is a mutual compact between the alumni and our alma mater, and to that end, the compact has to be nurtured and developed for this relationship to be consistently sustained. So the work that you all do in your communities, I think, is outlined here, really. We engage alumni with intellectual and social programs. We support alumni with volunteer and career resources, most recently the career chairs. We encourage alumni just to gather, network, and bond. So we'll focus on 3 key recommendations, but recommendation 6 was to develop a concrete and well-resourced program for acknowledging potential alumni leaders. I think the caucus is certainly a part of that, so thank you for all that you are doing. we try to keep you informed, and we know that we have an increasing need and thirst for information about what's going on at the university and how we can transfer that. Tim and I have done one roadshow so far, and we'll continue to get out to the communities. As you need resources, though, please tap the Alumni Board of Governors members in the room. Actually, can I ask the ABG just real quick, raise your hand so that they can identify you if you do not know. Thank you. It is a wonderful group of volunteers who've been in your shoes and hopefully can continue to help develop and grow that. Tim, do you want to speak a little bit to recommendation 10?
Sure. So I'm Tim Child. I'm Executive Director of the Alumni Association, and I want to add my welcome to Laura's. Am I working? Good. Because it's really a pleasure to see all of you here on this beautiful day to talk about supporting the University of Chicago. I would normally say we have a brief amount of time and a very rich document to go through, and normally I'd say we were giving you a 30,000-foot view of this, but I actually think we're up at the Blackbird plane level, about 70,000 feet. We're going to kind of zip through and look at one of the meatier recommendations as it relates to the work that you all are doing, and that is recommendation 10. And I wanted to just check, have all of you had a chance to read the report? I think we sent it out in advance. Not that there's a quiz, okay? And those of you who don't know, the internet access has been turned off in the law school classroom, so you're trapped, okay? You can't check your email while you're here. Although solitaire is an option, I hear. So I'd like to look at recommendation 10 because I found it the most densely packed of the recommendations and the one that has the most relevance for what we're doing here today. And I just want to spend a little time talking about it. In the first instance, what it asks us to do is to establish transformational goals for the work we're doing. And why was it looking for transformational goals? Well, obviously because we were looking to transform the culture of the university's relationship to its alumni and the relationship of our alumni to the university, and finally the relationship of our alumni to each other. So we're really trying to build and deepen the community of alumni and its connections to the university and the connections within that community. So having some goal in the Robert Browning line, I don't know if any of you are English majors, but that's where I spent my first 5 years here, was in the English department. Man's reach must exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? Okay, so first thing we did was to try and set a goal that was way out there. And the way out there endpoint that we picked was the 125th anniversary of the university, which is coming up in 2016-17. What we aspired to do was to engage most University of Chicago alumni in the life of the university. And the minimum definition of most is 50% plus one. So our kind of cheeky way of referring to this is our 50% plus one goal. And that was what we set just to try and draw us forward by 2016-17 to a more engaged, a more highly engaged alumni community. And we've done some measuring on this, and I think you'll be pleased to see that we're actually getting some traction here in building engagement among our alumni community. If you look at the data here, and I have only 4 data slides, and they all relate to each other, so I'll be quick through this. We started looking in 2007 when we had about 29%, according to the ways we could measure it, of our alumni community engaged with the university. We picked a 2-year rolling average because that's the rolling average that U.S. News uses, and because we didn't know a lot about what we were doing, and so we thought we would follow their guidance in that regard. So we had about 29% of the population engaged, so we had a challenge ahead of us to get to 50% plus one. We asked our analytics folks to kind of project out what the growth of the alumni body would be over the next several years, and we just created a linear step model to see if we had some benchmarks we could work toward. So in this instance, you'll see by fiscal year 10, we have almost we'd almost reached where we wanted to be next year. We're actually up to 38% of the alumni community engaged, and we're doing this on operating out of three simple premises, and that is that an engaged alum is someone who goes to events, gives to the university, or helps in any kind of volunteer activity. So go, give, help, that's our mnemonic for engagement, and we measure that too. What I really wanted to show you is this slide, because so much of what you all do is captured in these results. And I want you to, share in the satisfaction we all feel in watching the development of this engaged community. If you look at the event attendance from last year, you'll see that it almost is at the place we thought we would have to be in 2016-17. It's a huge advance in the number of people coming to events throughout the world. Last year, we tracked registrations for 565 events for alumni worldwide, and we know that Alumni House is not capturing all the data and all the information. So there's a lot of activity out there in the community, much of it driven by you, and we wouldn't be able to be achieving these numbers without your help. So this is a really exciting slide for us. On the giving end, I think you'll be pleased to see that last year our results exceeded the totals of any of the last 4 years, and in fact also exceeded the goal for this year. I think in the environment we're in, where dollars are a little hard to come by, knowing that our donors are sticking with us is really important. Not only are they sticking with us, but we have a very nice groundswell of support across the university. And again, many of you are involved in helping us raise money from your classmates, from Chicago Society members, and it's enormously important work, and we couldn't succeed at what we're doing without you. The final one is our volunteer slide, where we are at goal for where we thought we would be this year, and that too is a testament to the work you all are doing. We couldn't do it if you weren't here, of course, and if you weren't seeking out, as it says in Recommendation 6, people of like mind who want to help and support the university. So we're very, very grateful for that. How are we doing it? I'm going to do this very quickly. I think you know that we have essentially three platforms that we operate out of. We have a regional platform where we do our regional club work and our Chicago Society work. We have organized recently class councils in the college, though I think this is an exportable idea, particularly to the professional schools, where class and cohort identity is important. And we have Chicago affinity groups, which we used to call shared history groups or shared identity groups, and those are beginning to also gain traction in the alumni community. Finally, the task force report asks us to focus particularly on three areas. One is career services, one is student into alumni and young alumni programs, and one is divisional alumni cultivation. I'm going to tell you that we know that the most important thing alumni want from us is better career services and more robust career services. I take that to mean not just are we out there helping people think about resume building and interview skills and those kinds of things, but do we have robust professional networks that people can fall into when they need to. If they lose their job or they want to make a career change, they're graduating from college, that there are actually robust professional networks in our community. I think we all know Chicago has not in the past had a tradition of strong professional networks, but we are working very hard to develop those. And we've had some success in the bio-life science field, and we're working on a law affinity group where folks who are in the law professions can affiliate, a finance group, etc. So we are really working on this as well. I'd actually like to, Karen, I'm going to give you a 2-minute warning. I'd actually like to ask the Board of Governors members who've been thinking about the student to alumni programs and divisional programs to take a minute just to update you on what's happening there. And I'm going to, where are our microphones? Okay, good. David, if you could just...
Hi, guys. Good morning. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
My name is David Kazner. I graduated from the college in 2002, and I'm on the ABG. I chair the Student to Alumni Committee, where we have kind of 2 goals. One is we work with the Student Alumni Committee, which is currently a group of 35 undergraduates who are helping the student body start to think that they're alumni from the second that they step onto campus, which we think is a pretty important thing to create the kind of cohesive network in the long run that Tim was talking about. So we have certain events like the Distinguished Speaker Series where we have prominent alum come back and speak to the students, or Dinner with 12 Maroons where students go out into the Chicago community, have dinner with alum and faculty. And we're working on several other programs, mentorship, type things to make sure that it's a transition that students are thinking about significantly before they come to graduation. The second thing we're working on is helping students find jobs essentially when they graduate. We do that through the ABG externship and Metcalf internship programs is how we focus. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the ABG externship, but during the spring break, first and second year students have the opportunity to shadow an alum for, call it 1 to 5 days, and I think it's really valuable for the students. They get an idea of what it's like to work in a certain field, and gives them something to put on their resume and gives them a leg up on the competition, which obviously is very important in this market. The second thing is the Metcalf internship program, which is a 10-week program during the summer, where students can, actually do a job and add value to an employer. So I feel like the externship program is something that's really valuable for the students, and the value proposition is really for the employers in the internship program. So before I stop, I just want to have an ask here to everyone to go back to your respective organizations and find if you can find volunteers to provide an externship, find people who are willing to provide an internship, or even just volunteer, help read applications, do interviews, because I think it's a very, very important part of our process of turning student into alumni and building a network for the long run.
Thanks, David. Karen, do you have a microphone by any chance? Good.
I have one.
So I'm a graduate of the Humanities and the Business School. So Karen last year spent a good chunk of her year digging into our divisional and professional school alumni programs and how we can improve them. That's obviously something near and dear to my heart. So Karen, if you could give us a little update.
Thanks, Tim. I'm Karen Carr. I am an alumna from the Physical Sciences Division. Took my doctorate in chemistry in '95. So I had the privilege last year of chairing a task force that looked at the very difficult issue of how do you engage divisional alumni, and to some extent divisional alumni and professional school alumni are similar to alumni in the college. I think you have to begin early in engaging them with the university and creating a university brand. And so that's something that we've spent some time working on, how we do that. And we've become trying to integrate what we're doing with what Graduate Student Services is doing, and CAPS as well. Many of our alumni from the divisions end up in non-academic careers, and so we're spending more time on career-related services. We've done some experimentation with respect to some externships for divisional alumni, and we'd like to expand those kinds of programs. So this is an ongoing effort. It's a particularly difficult cohort, but I think the key is to start very early, and just as David had his ask for volunteers for externship programs, because we're interested in expanding that, particularly in the humanities and SSD, and to some extent in some of the science departments. We have a similar ask as well. So thanks.
Thanks, Karen. So The final thing I wanted to do is to just give you a little bit of an insight as to the qualitative effects of this work. So you see very good at the quantitative stuff, but we're also measuring the qualitative stuff. So in 2007, we did a survey of about 3,400 alumni that asked a number of questions that we refer to as the relationship monitor. And these are really about how do you feel about this, how connected do you feel. They're really more qualitative measures, not the quantitative ones that I showed you earlier. And it's designed to be done every 3 years and to track how we're doing in terms of creating change in attitudes in the alumni population. And this is like hot off the press. We got this last week. It's just a quick snapshot to show you that over the last 3 years we've been able to move the dial slightly across the board on alumni advocacy, people attending events, helping alums get jobs, volunteering, etc. So again, what I'm trying to leave you with is a picture of progress over the last several years on some very deeply entrenched tasks that we're trying to deal with within our culture at the University of Chicago, but also that we have lots of work to do going forward, which is why we need your help. But we couldn't do it without you, and I know these snapshots are from way up, so Laura and I are promising to take the Tim and Laura show on the road. If you want us to come to your community and talk to your board or talk to your alumni group about this, I'm happy to do it. Laura's happy to do it. Other board members are happy to do it, and we welcome the opportunity to do so. So I was given a timeline. We're under the timeline. We can actually take some questions. I think we have about 7 minutes for questions. So with that. You may not have had a chance to let the caffeine settle yet. Yeah.
Question is, how do I find out who are the alumni in my area?
So what area do you live in?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. We can get you a list of alumni in your area. That shouldn't be difficult. So, and I'm looking for, I thought I saw Josh here at least. Josh I know calls in Colorado. So if you talk to him, he'll put you in touch. Right. Great.
Oh, I guess you can't hear me.
That's all right. I heard you.
You can hear me now.
I told you the internet was shut off here. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
How do you get undergraduates involved in I mean, what is the criteria?
There's no criteria. If you're interested in it, you can join. Or in our opinion,
How are they aware of it? I mean, I get 2 kids. About it, or?
they're in the process of becoming an interest in organization. But I assume, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, they're at all the student organization fairs.
That's right.
I think that they have a broad distribution list. So
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Yeah, the Student Alumni Committee. There's 35 members, and they're doing a recruiting session in a week or so.
I think it's Tuesday.
Tuesday, less than a week.
Sorry.
Tuesday evening at Alumni House.
And actually, there's a table outside that you can get more information.
That's what the volunteer fair for is, by the way, just so you can browse and shop. So I'm glad they're there. It's working. All right. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Just to pick up on that last question, one of my children went to the University of Chicago branch in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and when she graduated, no, not the MIT one, the other one. The little community college one. But when she graduated, they compiled an extensive database of contact information from her so that they can stay in contact with her literally forever. They do that for every undergrad who graduates. And then they encourage the students to join the alumni clubs in the various areas of the country they settle in, and they seriously discount the joining fee for, I think, the first 5 years for all new alumni. And then more importantly, they encourage the parents to join somehow involved as legacy things, all in an effort to raise money and stay branded. So I wonder if you have any of those plans for your undergraduates.
Well, we do all of those things virtually. We don't charge people to belong to the Alumni Association, so there are no dues to reduce. I do believe that some events get reduced rates for graduates the first 10 years. And we take an exit survey, the college does an exit survey, and I think other divisions do as well, of alumni, which is captured in our database, so we can track them as best as we can. A lot of the mail to those recent graduates is going to mom and dad's house, we know that, but email is a very effective way to keep in touch with them. We're also running, just so you know, because you'll be getting something in the mail shortly, we're doing a directory project, an update. We haven't done one for 7 or 8 years, and we'll be sending out surveys, data surveys to the entire population, asking for updated data so that we can publish a directory next calendar year that will have updates for everybody to have available to them. But they're not really doing anything we don't do. So.
And if actually I can just add to that real quick, the parents, I think, are more engaged than ever at Chicago. It has been a wonderful thing to see. There are now parents clubs and people are really engaged. So we do see parents at Harper's now. We do see them hosting externs and interns. So we definitely encourage that, and we'd love to hear ideas from folks who have legacy students in the college or all over the university.
Yes, sir.
Number one, I just want to say you cannot get your graduation tickets until you fill out the exit survey. My question is about career services, and I have a vague recollection of signing up for the alumni database when I started my position this year. But we're wondering how that sort of gets activated on the student side, because when I graduated, the system wasn't exactly fully functional yet, but now it is, and I've gotten calls from several alumni who recently graduated and not so recently graduated, and was wondering if there's maybe just like a plan of action in terms of making that connection a little more organized, because sometimes they catch me in the shower, sometimes they,
We haven't figured out a way to publish your calendar yet. So. I think the system on the system side, the Alumni Careers Network is still up and running. I think we're looking to enhance and improve it, and you should be looking for notifications about that in the coming months. And I get calls too. I mean, alumni are using it, young alumni in particular are using the network. If you've opted in and said you're available for such contact, I would encourage you all to do so. We let alumni or young graduates know when we send out the Welcome to the Alumni Community letter, which I send out every quarter. It says you can go here if you want to access these things. So we try and push people to that at graduation. I don't know if that gets to your question.
I just think it might be a little helpful if we got a warning saying, hey, such and such looked you up and would like to contact you.
I think there's an option you can choose to use email.
Correct.
Yes, it will be easy. We'll have to share.
Yeah, you can tailor it a little more.
You can email me too, but it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't know, maybe they're just students.
Come on, yeah, they are UFC students. Come on. Yes. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Shall we just provoke a thought? I mean, although I'll be the last person on planet Earth to use it, don't people communicate with Facebook these days? Isn't that considered the viable means of media communication among the young?
Yeah, we have Facebook sites, we have LinkedIn sites. Yeah, it was. Don't younger people use Facebook? And in fact, they use Facebook and LinkedIn. And actually, we have on our website, I believe now, connections to the Facebook and LinkedIn sites. There are probably, and if Matt was here and I can't see him, I know there are over 8,000 alumni on the university's LinkedIn site, so it's quite a robust network all its own. So.
And if I can just build on that, Julie Chiron is going to be presenting in the next session. She's our new Alumni and Friends web community director who's doing a fantastic job. So Julie has done a great job linking up the LinkedIn, the Facebook, and the other alternative means rather than, we'll never displace Facebook, so embrace it and go with it. And I think Julie's done a great job with that. So hopefully you'll be able to see her session. There was another question.
One more question. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Oh, I just wanted to comment on the programs we were talking about. My daughter is in her third year. She did an externship here in Chicago with the Museum of Contemporary Art in her second year. And in her third year, she just came back from doing an externship in San Francisco attending the Met.
Did she have a good experience?
Absolutely.
We love hearing that. Thank you.
Great experience on the resume, as well as the fact that she didn't change her major. But even so, but that's the point. They need to find out what they really like before they make these declarations. So in terms of practical experience and the network, she met other USC people out in San Francisco.
So let me just take an opportunity to build on that and say we have 5,300 students in the college. Every year we are able to offer, last year, 108 externships. You'll notice that there's a large gap between 5,300 and 108. Last year we did a record number of Metcalfs, just over 300. Still a large gap between 5,300 and 300. We need your help building these programs, and I encourage you, if you can get in touch with me, get in touch with David, any of us on the board, we will help put you in touch with people. These are really effective programs. When I was a student, many of you may remember the Career and Placement Office was a 3x5 index card file in the Reynolds Club. And I kid you not. So I would encourage you to please help us build these programs. And now if I don't cut off, I'm going to get in trouble. No, I got to cut off, and then because I'm 10 minutes over. We got to go.
Thank you very much. Great news.